Michelle Prince, founder and CEO of Performance Publishing Group, making a difference one story at a time. We'll be shining the light on successful founders, entrepreneurs, business owners, and leaders that are getting results and making a difference. We'll talk about how they built their businesses, are creating movements, and leveraging the power of authority in their own lives. Be sure to stick around to the end of the show and we'll reveal how you can be our next guest. Let's get started. Hey everybody, it's Michelle Prince here, host of the Power of Authority Spotlight. I'm super excited about our show today. You know, we're always connecting with successful business owners, founders, leaders, people that are building their businesses, but they're also making a big impact and creating movements. And so we're going to be talking to Doreen Downing here in just a minute. But first, a quick message from our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Performance Publishing Group. Performance Publishing Group provides top quality, comprehensive book publishing services for soon-to-be authors. The team has helped hundreds of people realize their dream of becoming an author. And I, for one, believe that everyone has a story. Everybody should put their story in a book. I think that that's one of the ways that you can really help people connect with people. I know my guest agrees because she also has a book. But as a partner publisher, Performance Publishing Group can offer you more than just expert guidance. They want to make sure you get the book of your dreams and you reap the rewards. To learn more, just go to performancepublishinggroup.com. All right, let me introduce you to Dr. Doreen Downing, who is a psychologist and podcast host of Find Your Voice, Change Your Life. She once suffered from stage fright, is conquering it. In conquering it, she discovered being connected to your authentic self is the key to relaxed and confident speaking. Couldn't agree more. She now specializes in the treatment of public speaking anxiety. In addition to coaching and online courses, she is the author of The 7 Secrets to Essential Speaking, Find Your Voice, Change Your Life, a book that teaches you how to transform your anxiety with presence and connection. Welcome to the show, Doreen.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful to get to know you and to share my insights as I did overcome my fear of speaking in public. You know, being an introvert, I don't want to be one of those speakers that prances around and, you know, throws my arms up and pounds my fist. I want to just be me in front of a group.
Well, and I think pretty much everyone suffers from anxiety or fear of speaking. I mean, you've heard the joke that most people would rather be in the coffin than speaking at the eulogy of a funeral. So it's a huge, huge fear. But tell us, how did this all start? And you mentioned you overcame your fear. Tell us about what that was like, having a fear, and then what did you do to overcome it?
Well, I think the first is kind of a long story, but to shorten it, I got a PhD in psychology and started my practice, and everything's going pretty well. I got it from UC Berkeley, pretty successful, successful business going on. But I got to hide that I was afraid of speaking in public. I mean, one-on-one in my office. I'm a great listener. I mean, I started being a good listener way back in early family history because that's what was needed. But so, yeah, listening skills were just easy for me. But speaking when eyes were on me, other than just one person in my office, was really, really difficult. But, you could hide it.
Yeah.
And that's what professionals do. That's mostly the people I work with, women who are professional, who are, just white knuckling it through or putting a tape over their mouth and just trying to fit in. And so as a psychologist, isn't that kind of ironic that I'm working with people every day about fear and hiding my own? And then, so how it happened that I made the change or started that inner journey was I was confronted when I was asked to give a presentation at a big conference. And I said, not me. And, if you had come to me and said, hey, Doreen, I'd like you to be on your show, I would say, I can't. It's too scary. And you would go, really? You're a psychologist? Isn't fear your business? And that's what happened. I was confronted, and that was I mean, obviously, I knew, and I have some stories about how I know I avoided the
Mhm.
spotlight. But what's most important, I think, for today in communicating to people is I know what it's like to spend years hiding and be a professional. And it
Mm,
wasn't that I felt like an imposter. I mean, I felt
yeah.
great at what I did. All I had to do was just avoid the spotlight. And who cares about that, really?
No. What do you think? Because I think so many people feel this way. What do you think is the driving force behind that? Like, why are so many people afraid to speak up?
Well, because I'm a psychologist,
You know
I
the answer.
well, that's what I've studied all these years, and also my own personal journey. What I feel like I've really pinned down, obviously, is that there's something somewhere along in life's journey that the person got shut up or shut down or had to pretend. And I always like to start really, really early in life, like, 2, 3 years old when you're first
Mm,
going, "Hello, world." And is the world saying, "Oh, I'm so glad you're here," or are they dysfunctional and, mistreating you? And that's where self-esteem gets planted. That's the
yeah.
blueprint. And so a lot of the work that I do is the deeper kind of healing that needs to be had, I think, in order for people to be comfortable in their own skin, in their own sense of self. And
Mhm.
so for me, it's way, way more than learning how to give a good speech. Although I have a story, a quick one is that in the beginning of my journey, I did do Toastmasters and I won contests. So I
Oh,
spent
wow.
many years there. Michelle, I just got better at hiding.
Yeah. You just learn the skills.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I would have to rehearse this 5-minute speech, 50, 100 times in front of a mirror while I'm driving, tape recorder. And it was just
Mhm.
to prepare it. Well, it was like a performance, right? It really
Mhm.
wasn't me, which is fine. People speak that way all the time, but I'm much, much more interested in helping people dive into what's really who the strength, the inner strength,
Mhm.
you might say.
So, what was the catalyst to go from, obviously as a psychologist, psychiatrist, you were learning all of these things, but then you made the transition for your own life. You realized that was something. But what was the catalyst to make you want to help other people to overcome their anxiety when it comes to speaking?
Well, I think possibly, again, that goes back to my early life being the older sister and a mom who was manic depressive and learning how to help people. That
Mhm.
was kind of what I was thrust, what I was born
Yeah.
into is kind of a caretaker role, you might say. So I think that
Yeah.
was already natural coming through high school and college. And I started out as social work, actually, it was my
Mm.
first degree at UC Berkeley, and then went into the Peace Corps. So you can see that I already
Yeah.
have this kind of, ooh, I want the world to be different. And
Mm.
this was in the 60s at UC Berkeley, the free speech movement.
Wow. Yes.
So I think that there's just some way that I had already been finding a path where I felt comfortable in,
Mm.
listening to people and helping them be more already, you know.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I
so,
can tell that you are you I mean, just so we just met, but you just exude that you want to help others and kindness and all that. So I love that because we tend to want to help others with things that we've struggled with ourselves.
yes.
And it's interesting that you tie the fear and the anxiety to self-esteem because that does make a lot of sense. I mean, it really does, but that it forms so early. What would you say to someone listening that is, they know they have a fear, anxiety, they want to hide in their own skin? Um, what would you say to them? How could you help them to overcome that? And I know it's not a quick, simple answer, but what would you say?
I would say that was my biggest challenge in, finally coming out into the world and saying, hey, I've got a different way for you to find your voice.
Mm.
And it's not about learning better performance techniques or do the fear and, feel the fear and do
Fear
it
and do it anyway.
you know, because if anything, sometimes that just keeps re-traumatizing people. And in fact, I have worked with lots of people who have done Toastmasters who have gotten, you know, real great success, but understand something like what I had was that they didn't really get to be more fully who they know they can be. So I would say what you're talking about is this is my message. It's an inner journey. And that I think is a lot of people don't want to do that. You know,
Yeah.
they just want to put on the suit and the right earrings and let's look good and let's go out and do the beginning, the middle, the end of a speech. And
Mm,
the people I work with are much, much more inclined who want to find their voice. They
mm,
don't really know, but they have a sense. They have a sense that something's blocking them.
yeah.
And it's usually, you know, they begin to say it's something about learning to be more aware. So it's an inside job. It's
Mm,
not on, you know, putting lipstick on the pig, they say, but it's more about really going on this inner journey. And I
mm.
had a retreat I did for 10 years in Hawaii, and it was called Speaking Quest,
Ooh,
journey to your authentic voice,
love that.
right? Yeah. And so my 7 secrets are all about how to take that inner journey. So the last secret is be yourself. Not that's what people always say, just be yourself.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
no, you can't just be yourself when you don't have a full self already
Wow.
grounded inside of you.
Right. Wow, that event sounds amazing. So people would come there to basically find their authentic voice, and then you would help them to craft their story, or what else would happen at that event?
Again, it's not so much about what they say, it's
Yeah.
about finding what the potential within is and learning
Okay.
to listen deeply to, well, what is my authentic voice?
Got
What
it.
does it feel like? And how to drop, and I'm doing this if people are listening, I'm doing dropping down with my hands going down, down. Ooh, I'm even feeling a little oh, calmer right now when I can go, oh, there it is.
Mm,
Deep inside of the belly is where the being of you is. And so here I'm
mm.
talking about speaking, and I'm saying it's not about speaking, folks, it's about
Yeah.
being.
Well, that's actually a great way to put that then,
Uh-huh.
you know? So showing up in your authentic self, your authentic voice to regardless of where you are delivering that, right? Whether it's on a stage, whether it's one-on-one, whether it's on a Zoom meeting or anything like that.
Yeah.
We have a lot of overlap in terms of very differently, but I like helping people to, I say, find their story, but that's really what it is it's not, it has nothing to do with the book. It's about, we all have a story, and I believe our story is a gift, whether we wanted it or not, right? Some parts of our story were wonderful, other parts may be painful, but it's who we are, right? And we can't change our story. So how can we, embrace it and be, and leverage it to maybe make a difference in somebody else's life? So I love what you're doing, because that's just basically giving people permission to be okay with who they are now, not necessarily who they think other people want them to be. And would you say that that's with did I did I sum that up okay?
Oh, I love the overlap, what you just said about the story being who you are, and people are afraid to discover what that story is, or
Yeah,
perhaps it was someplace in the past. Well, the past is the past, isn't it?
yeah,
But oh no, we carry our past, and
yeah.
so that's this inner journey, finding what you're talking about, the story
Mm,
which is actually a life experience or a life moment that you
mm,
had that most likely you've been able to transform because that's part of the story, right? I bet that
yeah,
you teach. But also, it's about being more human and just showing people where you were. You know,
right.
my grandma would tell us to be quiet, or else my mom would go back into the hospital.
Mm,
So, you know, that's I have a story about
mhm,
how that shut my voice down and how I learned that, ooh, I better not speak up.
mhm,
People are going to leave me. That's pretty
Mhm.
serious,
That's
right?
very, especially at a young age.
So that story thing that you just said, I think is goes so with what I'm talking about, is going within to find all the different kinds of aspects of your story.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I found too with people that it's usually what we've been through, and the pain. Actually,
Mm.
there's a woman in my mastermind, Mindy, who just said this the other day, that really, we were talking about why you're passionate about the things you're passionate about, and it came back to pain, and that usually when you've experienced some sort of trauma or pain or something that just wasn't fair in life, it tends to, for not everybody, but for some, it creates a passion to help other people. It breaks their heart if somebody else has to go through that. you know so it sounds like that's your case. It's my case, and many others. And it's, but getting to that point of figuring out what really pained you enough to want to do something about it, that is a journey.
Yes.
um, hmm
Yeah. And
it
there's got to
doesn't.
be willingness and also a guide like us,
Yeah.
because we know the path.
Yes, exactly. Who are some of your greatest mentors, or who's had some of the biggest impact on you?
Well, there are a couple people that come to mind just as early on in my studies at Berkeley in psychology, Viktor Frankl, who was
Oh gosh.
in the camps and
Yes.
who, the
Search
whole
for meaning, or
yes, search for meaning, man's search for meaning, and that says a lot of what a lot of spiritual traditions talk about is we create our own reality.
mm,
Goodness, my goodness, that's yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's such a good book. I recently reread it, probably about 2 years ago, and it was like, wow, this is just unbelievable. So what a great role model in that regard. So one of the questions I like to ask all of my guests, because the show is called The Power of Authority Spotlight, and we are shining the light on you today. But the premise of that is, I wrote a book called The Power of Authority, and it's a play on words. It's, you can't spell authority without author. So I do believe that a book is one way to really help build and grow your authority. But authority to me is just its influence, or it's the ability for people to want to hear what you have to say, right? So it's kind of that building the platform. So what are you doing for your business that you're seeing work, in terms of helping grow and build your brand and your authority?
Well, I think the first thing would be the commitment to, um, helping myself show up fully. And
Yeah.
I have a little saying that I have on my computer, and this is what it says: I am fully present in
Mm.
the now. And when I say that to myself, I am full presence, I look around, and I'm doing this right now, and everything kind of brightens up, and I
Oh,
feel grounded, and I've trained myself over and over
yeah.
to bring myself back to this particular now, and it's
Mm.
more than just stop and smell the roses,
Right.
you
Well, and
know.
you can, and I can sense that. I can feel that. You are very present and very,
Mm,
grounded is a perfect word, because calm and no fears. And,
yeah,
you do a podcast as well. So I'm sure you've had guests who have been nervous,
yeah.
and so, but I don't sense that at all. So you definitely walk your talk.
Definitely. And I liked what you said about author and authority. I never really put those together. That's really good.
I wish I could say I came up with that. I'm not quite sure where I first heard that, but it really resonated with me, because
Mhm.
my whole story we're not here talking about me, but it was really truly as a result of me writing a book that everything started to happen. And so I do believe that when you are an author, people want to listen to what you have to say a little bit more than if you're not. So it's not about a book, it's about your story, and it's about what is it that you really want to share with the world that could make an impact, personally, professionally. We all have something, and I think our stories are gifts. So
Yes. Thank you for allowing me to unfold a couple of them today with you.
yes, absolutely. And I know people are listening that want to get in touch with you and connect with you. And there's two ways, right? There's your website, Doreen7secrets.com. Do I have
That's
that?
actually the gift, that the free gift
Oh,
that people can get are my 7 secrets that I write about in my book, which just
Oh,
launched this month. The
oh,
7
wow. Yes.
to
Okay.
essential speaking, find your voice, change your life. And that's on Amazon. So
Oh,
Doreen Downing on Amazon, they can get the 7 secrets. But Doreen at 7secrets.com, you could download. It's a bookmark and it's really well designed, I think.
oh, that's so great. Well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. And anything else? Anything else that you would let's end this on a note of somebody who's still, yeah, but I'm still not sure. I want to play bigger, but I'm still playing small. What would you say to them?
Well, my first secret is stillness.
Mm.
And that may not sound like, oh, I don't want to hear that. I hate going blank. That's the worst thing for me. But imagine being really comfortable with a grounded stillness inside of your belly, that you know that you are always safe inside, and that your voice comes and it has a resonance when it comes from a deeper grounded place within you. So that's my very first secret, and I've got 6 more that are in the book.
That you want to get the free bookmark for sure. Get the book on Amazon, and then also get the bookmark. But Dr. Doreen, thank you so much. This has just been so. I enjoyed it so much, and I really hope that those listening know that even if you're afraid, even if you have anxiety, it's okay. It's probably even normal, but there is a way to overcome it, and definitely take advantage of those 7 secrets. And thank you again for being on the show.
Thank you, Michelle.
All right, everyone, that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and focus on what you can do to get still and find your authentic voice, and get that voice out on paper and into a book so that you can impact even more people's lives. See you next time. Thanks so much for listening to the Power of Authority Spotlight. If you are a successful founder, entrepreneur, business owner, or leader that's getting results and making a difference, and you'd like to be on this program, please visit performancepublishinggroup.com/podcast to apply. That's performancepublishinggroup.com/podcast. Also, if you got something out of this interview, please share this episode. Just do a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend, or post it on the socials. If you know someone that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show, and include the hashtag #ThePowerOfAuthoritySpotlight. I love seeing your posts and guest suggestions. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content, so make sure you don't miss any episodes by subscribing. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show, and mean a lot to me and my team. Want to know more? Go to our websites, performancepublishinggroup.com or michelleprince.com, and follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.